Hello Roddy, and what is going on? And today we're going to be looking at the new Siren Mastery update, which is going to be version 1.4.0.0. So there are going to be very many exciting changes in this update, including the ability to keep your Siren on when leaving your vehicle. So without further ado, let's get right into the change. So the first and foremost, the most important change is the fact that you can now keep Sirens on when you leave your vehicle. So to demonstrate this, I'm just going to put my Siren on here. And I'm going to leave my vehicle. And the Siren's going to keep playing. And I can run away, and it'll get softer and softer, just like a realistic vehicle. So that has been totally made over. I've done a lot of behind-the-scenes changes to implement this. So now Sirens are loaded in a slightly different way, which give faster performance and better management as well. And as you can hear, when I get back to my vehicle, the Siren starts and fades back in again. If you don't want your Siren to stay on when leaving your vehicle, you can easily disable this from the INI file, and you can also change the distance from which your Siren is meant to be heard. So if you want it to fade out a little less quickly, you can increase that distance so it is audible for a bit longer. Another thing that's changed in the new version of Siren Mastery is that the horn now has a small fade out effect. So as you might remember, the horn used to stop rather abruptly when you let go of the key. That is now no longer the case. As you can hear, there is now a very much more natural fade out effect when you stop pressing the button, and you might not be able to hear it very well now, but if you compare it to the previous version, you will definitely hear a big difference. Another new feature is the ability to cycle through your Sirens at the press of one single key. So I've mapped that to the J key by default.
All units, we've got a person stealing a car in,
as you can see, whenever I press the J key, the next Siren is selected and the next Siren plays. The J key ignores all horns, so horns won't be included in the cycle. And as you can see, the off state is also included in the cycle. If you do not want the off state to be in the cycle, in other words, you want to go back to Siren 1 without having to press the key again, you can change that in the INI file as you wish completely. In addition to all these changes, the Sirens for the Granger and the Sheriff 2 vehicles have now been updated so they actually resemble the ones that are in the default game by default. And while we're talking about default Sirens, there is another very important feature that has been added to the new version of Siren Mastery. So as you might remember, as it was before, you needed to add all the vehicle models you wanted to use a single vehicle Siren setup in the vehicle model section. And if you had like 40 add-on vehicles, that was quite a lot of work. So what I've now allowed you to do is to say that this vehicle Siren setup should be the default for police car. And what this does is that if there is no vehicle Siren setup that overrides a certain vehicle, then this vehicle Siren setup will be used for that police vehicle. So I can now basically delete all of these except one. You always need to keep one in just for safety. So that means if I now spawn a sheriff vehicle, and I start driving around with it, it'll have the Sirens because the default Sirens are now included in this vehicle Siren setup. If I were to create another vehicle Siren setup where I would explicitly state the sheriff vehicle in the vehicle model section, then the sheriff vehicle would use that vehicle setup. So this basically saves you a lot of work if you are using add-on vehicles. You are able to do the same procedure for bikes as well, so you can add another default for is police bike, and the same will happen for police bikes. You can also delete this one, and then this will only be the default vehicle Siren setup for police bikes. So this is a very neat new feature that should save you a lot of time and a lot of space. As for the config files, there have been several things that have been added to them. For the general config file, that is the next Siren includes off setting, the keep Sirens on out of vehicle setting, and the Sirens on out of vehicle max distance setting. So there will be instructions in the changelog of Siren Mastery on how you can easily update your own INI to the new INI version without having to replace the whole INI file. So make sure to check the changelog out for those instructions. As for the keyboard config and the controller config, the new things are the next Siren modifier key and the next Siren key. So for the keyboard, that is going to be J by default, and for the controller, that is going to be none by default, so you can set that up yourself exactly as you wish. And with that being said, guys, thank you all very much for watching. The full changelog can, as always, be found on the Siren Mastery download page. If you enjoyed the video, please like, and if you would like to see more of my future content, please consider subscribing as well. And if you have any questions or suggestions, please feel free to post a comment below, and I will do my best to reply to you. So thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.